All right, please welcome the host of New Zealand Today. Put your hands together for Guy Williams.
Holy shit, it is so nice to be here. Oh, it's amazing. You know, COVID-19 has been a real roller coaster for all of New Zealand, and considering we only have one roller coaster in New Zealand, it's actually been a real treat, to be honest. It's been a real wild ride. This is honestly the best job in the world. I love this so much, you know, because it can't go wrong. People are like, Guy, what if no one laughs? I don't give a shit. People pay at the start of the show, not the end. And people are like, Guy, imagine doing an entire 1 hour show and getting no laughs for the entire show. I'm like, I don't have to imagine that. I did that in Christchurch last week. It was sweet as. I'm a mediocre white man. I can talk confidently for an hour with no laughs. I just pretend I'm doing a podcast. I can travel the entire New Zealand just bombing in every town in New Zealand. And people are like, Guy, but what happens when you've used up every town in New Zealand? I'm like, fuck it, I'll just move to Australia and start bombing there. Shit, the Warriors have been doing it for 25 years. Why can't I, you know? But it's, yeah, I've got to be honest with you, I'm kind of losing faith in comedy a little bit, you know? I used to worship comedians. I used to think comedy was like a religion. My honest dream, and this is embarrassing to admit, was to open a comedy club in Wellington. I want to call it The Church. Because my favorite comedians, they were like the disciples or the apostles, and the comedians were like the priests. And unfortunately, I had to give up on my dream because all my favorite comedians got arrested on some sort of like horrific sex crimes, much like the actual church I grew up in. And it's weird because it's comedians, and it's like when it was like rugby league players, we were making all the jokes, and when it was priests, we'd be doing all the gags. But it's because comedians, we're just kind of staying hush about it, eh? We're just trying to pretend everything's normal, trying to ignore it. We're up here like, wow, Jetstar's pretty weird. Hamilton's a bit shit. It's the craziest thing, and dudes are attacking me online. They're like, oh, you're just jealous of Louis C.K. because he's a better comedian than you. Yeah, so is Bill Cosby. Oh, thank you. A couple of people going with me. I'm serious. All my heroes have let me down. Honestly, Bill Cosby was my favorite comedian growing up, you know? Michael Jackson was my favorite singer. Woody Allen was my favorite director, you know? Harvey Weinstein was my favorite film producer. Jeffrey Epstein was my favorite international pedophile. Jared from Subway was my favorite Jared from Subway. All my heroes have let me down. And even what we've been through in the last 5 years, comedians are still so misogynistic. I don't understand why it is, and it's often so subtle. For example, I'm sick of people having a go at bloody Kim Kardashian. Right? I'm not a huge Kim Kardashian fan, but I hate it when people are like, oh, what does she even do? What does she even do? Okay, she has a website, a fashion brand, a handbag range, a makeup range, an app, and the most successful reality TV show of all time. What the fuck do you do? And still people are like, oh, she only is famous off making a sex tape. She only got famous off having a sex tape. To those people I want to say, do you have any idea how hard it is to make a sex tape and get people to watch it? It is almost impossible. I've made like 3 or 4 sex tapes now. No one's watched any of them. Check them out after the show. You guys have been lovely. Thank you very much. Cheers.